The courtroom froze the moment he leaned forward and growled, "You don't scare me, Judge." The bailiff stepped in, the audience inhaled, and even the cameras seemed to stop humming. Judge Judy didn't blink. Instead, she opened a thin blue file, a file the man didn't know existed. Her voice stayed calm, razor sharp. "Let's see if you still feel brave. After this." What she revealed shattered his confidence in seconds. "But before we jump in, tell me, where are you watching from? And don't forget to hit that subscribe button." The gavel had not even struck yet when the man leaned back in his chair, smiling like the outcome was already decided. His confidence filled the room before his name ever did. Some people walk into court nervous. He walked in entertained. Travis Cole adjusted his jacket slowly, deliberately, as if cameras were there only for him. He glanced at the gallery and smirked, giving a small nod to no one in particular. The kind of nod meant to say, "Watch this." Judge Judy noticed it immediately. She did not react. She never did. Her eyes stayed on the file in front of her, but her attention was already locked on him. Across from Travis stood the plaintiff, Luis Ramirez. He held his paperwork too tightly, fingers stiff, shoulders drawn inward. Luis did not look like someone eager to be here. He looked like someone who had run out of options. When Judge Judy invited him to speak, his voice came out careful and restrained. He explained that Travis had stormed into his auto shop after a minor disagreement and destroyed thousands of dollars worth of specialized equipment. Tools that were not just expensive, but essential to his livelihood. Travis laughed, not loudly, just enough to be heard. Judge Judy raised her eyes for the first time. "Do not interrupt," she said calmly. The room shifted. Travis leaned forward instead, elbows on the table, still smiling. He waved a dismissive hand and said Luis was exaggerating, claimed the equipment was old, claimed it broke easily, claimed people like Luis always looked for someone to blame. Luis swallowed. He tried again, explaining how long it took him to save for that equipment, how it put his business at risk. Travis rolled his eyes, tapping his fingers against the desk, clearly bored. To him, this was not a hearing. It was a performance. Judge Judy listened without comment. She let Travis talk himself into space. She asked one simple question. "Why were you at his shop that day?" Travis answered quickly, too quickly. He said he was there to resolve an issue. Then he said he was there to pick something up. Then he corrected himself again. Each answer came with the same easy grin, the same assumption that charm could outrun truth. Luis stood quietly while Travis spoke over him. That silence mattered. Judge Judy noticed that too. When Travis finished, Judge Judy leaned back slightly. Her voice stayed even, but something underneath it sharpened. "You seem very comfortable in my courtroom," she said. "That usually means one of two things. You are telling the truth, or you think rules do not apply to you." The audience shifted. Travis chuckled again, confident as ever, and shrugged like the comment amused him. Judge Judy lowered her gaze to the file and turned a page. "Let us find out which one it is," she said. And for the first time since walking in, Travis stopped smiling. Travis's smile returned quickly, but it did not land the same way. It stayed on his face while something else shifted behind his eyes. Confidence can survive a lot. Precision is not one of them. Judge Judy did not rush him. She asked him to explain, slowly, what he meant by resolving an issue. Travis straightened up, eager again, launching into a version of events that sounded rehearsed. He claimed Luis had been rude, claimed there was a misunderstanding about a repair, claimed voices were raised on both sides. The story came out smooth at first, like something he had told himself more than once. Then Judge Judy asked him for details. "What time were you there?" she said. Travis paused. Just a beat too long. He named a time, then corrected it. He said it was late afternoon. No, early evening. The words piled up as he tried to cover the gap. His fingers tapped the desk faster now, rhythm uneven, betraying the calm he was trying to sell. Luis was asked to respond. He did not argue. He reached into his folder and placed photographs on the desk, clear images of a hydraulic lift damaged beyond repair. A diagnostic scanner cracked at the screen. Wires pulled loose like they had been yanked in anger, not accident. Luis explained quietly what each piece did, how long it took to afford them, how his shop had been closed since. Travis scoffed. That stuff was already junk, he said, laughing again. Look at it. Judge Judy leaned forward slightly. Judge Judy leaned forward slightly. Do not tell me what to look at, she said. Answer the question. The question was simple. How does equipment break in exactly the same place, all at once during a conversation? Travis shrugged, spreading his hands. He joked about bad luck, about people being too sensitive. He tried to turn the room back into a stage, tossing out lines meant to get a reaction. None came. The audience stayed quiet. Judge Judy did not blink. She asked him to walk her through his movements inside the shop. Travis pointed vaguely, describing where he stood. Luis corrected him gently, said that was not where the lift was. Travis snapped back, irritation flashing through the grin. He raised his voice just a notch, enough to notice. Judge Judy noticed. She compared his words to the photos, to Luis's timeline, to Travis's own earlier statements. The more she narrowed the focus, the less room Travis had to perform. His answers shortened, his posture tightened, that easy lean turned into a stiff sit, shoulders creeping upward as if bracing for impact. Then, Judge Judy asked another quiet question. Were there other people present? Travis laughed too fast. I do not think so. Luis hesitated, then spoke. He said there were customers waiting. One of them stayed. One of them spoke up when Travis started shouting. Travis's tapping stopped. Judge Judy lifted her pen and looked directly at him. So, she said, voice even and unhurried, we now have property damage, raised voices, and at least one witness. The word witness hung there, heavy and unavoidable. Travis opened his mouth to respond, then closed it again. The smile flickered, thinner now, stretched across a face that was working harder to keep it in place. Judge Judy did not press yet. She simply added, we will hear from them. And in that moment, the confidence Travis walked in with showed its first real crack. The side door opened before Travis could object. It was not loud. It did not need to be. The timing alone was enough to rattle him. A woman stepped into view, mid-40s, steady posture, no rush in her movements. Her name was Erica Mills. She walked like someone who had already decided to tell the truth and had made peace with whatever came after. Travis turned in his seat, eyes narrowing, trying to place her. The smile did not come back this time. Judge Judy nodded once. You were present at the shop, she said. Yes, Erica answered. Her voice was calm, almost neutral. I was waiting for my car. She explained that she had been seated near the counter when Travis arrived. At first, it sounded like a disagreement. Words exchanged, tension rising. Then, it changed. Travis's voice grew louder, sharper. He started pacing. She described how his hands moved, how close he stood to Luis, how the air in the shop shifted from uncomfortable to hostile. Travis interrupted. She's exaggerating. Judge Judy did not look at him. You will speak when I ask you to, she said. Erica continued. She said Travis kicked a metal stool out of the way, said he shoved equipment aside as he argued, said Luis asked him to leave more than once. When asked what happened next, Erica paused just briefly as if choosing the right words. He started breaking things, she said, not by accident, on purpose. Travis leaned forward, face flushing. That's a lie. Judge Judy's gaze snapped to him. Sit back, she said. He did, jaw tight, breathing louder than before. Erica described the sound of metal hitting concrete, the crack of plastic, the way Luis froze like he was watching something fall apart in slow motion. She said Travis shouted something then, a sentence that stuck with her, something about teaching a lesson. The room stayed quiet as she spoke. No murmurs, no reactions, just attention. Then Judge Judy asked, Did anyone record this incident? Erica nodded. He did. Travis's head snapped up. What? Erica explained that Travis pulled out his phone during the argument, that he held it up, filming as he spoke, that he seemed proud, like he wanted proof of what he was doing. Travis shook his head hard. No, that's not true. Judge Judy finally looked directly at him. Where's that recording, Mr. Cole? He shrugged too quickly. I do not know. It did not come out right. Luis spoke quietly. He said the video appeared online later that night. Short clips, angry captions, enough for people to recognize his shop. Judge Judy turned back to Travis. So you filmed, she said. You posted, and then you deleted. Travis opened his mouth, then closed it. His foot bounced under the table, fast and uncontrolled. Judge Judy did not accuse. She did not lecture. She simply wrote something down. "Deleted things have a way of resurfacing," she said. Travis stared at the desk now, no smile left to manage. The witness had not raised her voice. She had not added drama. She had simply described what she saw. And what she saw was more than Travis wanted anyone to remember. A bead of sweat slid down Travis's temple. It caught the light for half a second before disappearing into his collar. It was the first honest thing he had shown all morning. Judge Judy did not comment on the witness's statement right away. She let the silence sit, heavy and deliberate. Travis shifted in his chair, rolling his shoulders as if trying to shake something off. When she finally spoke, her voice was calm, almost casual. "You said the recording did not come out right," she said. "Explain that." Travis cleared his throat. He shrugged. "Phone glitch, happens all the time, bad angle, sound was messed up." He gave a short laugh, hoping it would soften the explanation. "Not worth keeping." Judge Judy tilted her head slightly. "Interesting," she said, "because people usually do not delete videos they did not care enough to post." The laugh died in Travis's throat. He leaned forward again, hands clasped too tightly now. "I never posted anything that mattered." Louis spoke quietly, almost reluctantly. He said the clips were online for several hours, said friends sent him screenshots before they disappeared, said strangers commented, mocking his shop, asking what he did to make Travis so angry. Judge Judy looked toward the bailiff. The bailiff stepped forward, holding an envelope sealed with clear tape. It had been waiting on the side table, unnoticed until now. "This was delivered before the hearing," the bailiff said. Travis stiffened. "What is that?" Judge Judy did not answer him. She opened the envelope slowly, pulling out printed pages, screenshots, clean, clear, unmistakable. Video stills showing Travis mid-rant, phone held high, face twisted in anger. Below them were captions, bold and deliberate. The courtroom reacted before she said a word. A low intake of breath, a shifting of bodies. Travis's mouth opened, but no sound came out. Judge Judy read silently for a moment, then she looked up. "You deleted the videos," she said, "but you forgot something important." Travis shook his head weakly. "Those could be fake." Judge Judy lifted one page slightly. "This caption was posted from your account," she said. "Same username, same timestamp, same phrasing you used in this courtroom earlier." She turned the page toward him. The caption read, "Some people only learn when you break their toys." Travis's face drained of color. His shoulders sagged as if something inside finally gave way. That was not a joke. That was not frustration. That was intent. Luis closed his eyes. Not in relief. In recognition. Judge Judy placed the papers back on the desk, aligning them carefully. "This is not an accident," she said. "This is not a misunderstanding. This is a choice." Travis tried to speak. He stammered, words colliding, excuses piling up faster than they could make sense. He blamed anger. He blamed stress. He blamed everyone but the man sitting in his chair. Judge Judy raised one finger. "Enough," she said. The word cut clean through the noise. "You did not just break equipment," she continued. "You documented it, you celebrated it, and then you tried to erase it when you realized it could cost you." She leaned back slightly, eyes never leaving his. "You thought deleting the video would delete the truth," she said. "That is not how records work." Travis stared at the desk, jaw tight, breathing shallow. The confidence that carried him into the courtroom was gone now, replaced by something smaller and far more dangerous. Fear. And Judge Judy was not finished with it yet. The printed screenshot rested on the desk like a quiet verdict. No motion, no sound, just words that refused to be explained away. Travis stared at the page as if distance might soften it. It did not. He swallowed hard and forced a laugh that sounded thin even to him. "It was a joke," he said quickly. "People say things online all the time. It does not mean anything." Judge Judy did not look impressed. She tapped the paper once with her pen. "Jokes usually end with laughter," she said. "This ended with damaged property and a closed business." Luis shifted beside his table, shoulders tight. When Judge Judy asked how long his shop had been closed, he answered softly. 3 weeks. 3 weeks of missed income, 3 weeks of explaining to customers why repairs were delayed, 3 weeks of watching bills pile up while equipment sat broken. Travis rolled his eyes again, but the gesture lacked its earlier swagger. "That is not my problem," he muttered. Judge Judy looked up sharply. "That's exactly your problem," she said. She walked through the timeline slowly, methodically. The disagreement, the arrival at the shop, the destruction, the video, the caption. Each step built on the last, leaving no room for coincidence. She pointed out that the equipment was damaged before any argument escalated, that Travis chose to film instead of leave, that the caption showed intent, not impulse. Travis shifted, rubbing his hands together now. "I was angry," he said. "People say stupid things when they are angry." Judge Judy nodded once. "Anger explains why people shout," she said. "It does not explain why they plan." The room absorbed that distinction. Luis spoke again, this time steadier. He described the cost of replacing the equipment, the calls he had to make, the embarrassment of explaining why his shop was suddenly unreliable. He never raised his voice. He did not have to. Travis snapped back, voice rising. He accused Luis of playing the victim, of exaggerating, of trying to cash in. The words came faster now, sharper, less controlled. The confident performer was gone, replaced by someone scrambling for ground that no longer existed. Judge Judy let him finish. Then she leaned forward. "Mr. Cole," she said, "you did not just damage property, you tried to humiliate someone publicly. That caption was not for him, it was for an audience." Travis opened his mouth to argue. She held up a hand. "And now," she continued, "you are learning the difference between attention and consequence." Travis muttered something under his breath. It was quiet, but the microphone caught it. A sharp, resentful phrase, not loud enough to repeat, but clear enough to register. The bailiff took one step forward. Judge Judy's eyes hardened. "Did you just threaten me, Mr. Cole?" Travis froze. "No," he said quickly, too quickly. "I did not say anything." Judge Judy did not respond right away. She simply looked at the clerk, then at the bailiff. "We will address that," she said calmly. And in that calm, Travis finally understood something he had missed from the beginning. This was no longer about the caption. It was about what kind of man wrote it. The microphone did not miss it. It never does. Some words are quiet only to the person saying them. Travis leaned back in his chair, jaw clenched, eyes fixed on the desk as if staring hard enough might undo the last 30 seconds. His denial still hung in the air, thin and unconvincing. Judge Judy did not challenge it immediately. She turned slightly toward the clerk instead. "Replay the audio," she said. The room held its breath as the short clip echoed through the courtroom. Static, a shuffle of movement, then Travis's voice, low and sharp, unmistakable. Not loud enough to sound brave, just loud enough to sound dangerous. A murmur rippled through the gallery. The bailiff adjusted his stance, placing himself half a step closer to Travis's table. Travis shook his head, panic flashing across his face. "That's not what I meant," he said. "You're twisting it." Judge Judy looked at him steadily. "Words do not twist themselves," she said. "People do." She leaned forward now, elbows resting lightly on the bench. Her tone remained calm, but something in it tightened. "Do you understand what happens when someone threatens a judge in open court?" Travis swallowed. "I did not threaten anyone." "You implied it," she replied, "and implication is often worse. It tells me you are comfortable crossing lines when you think no one will stop you." Travis's voice rose. He blamed stress. He blamed the cameras. He blamed the pressure of being accused. Each excuse landed weaker than the last. The confidence he arrived with had fully collapsed into agitation, his hands moving constantly now, rubbing, tapping, gripping the edge of the table. Judge Judy listened. Then she did something unexpected. She reached beneath her desk and pulled out a thick blue folder. Travis stopped talking. "This," she said, placing the folder carefully in front of her, "is not just today's case." His eyes locked onto it. "What is that?" She did not answer right away. She opened the folder slowly, page by page, letting the sound of paper do the work. "When someone behaves the way you have behaved today," she said, "I stop listening to their excuses and start looking for their patterns." Travis laughed weakly. You cannot judge me on things that are not here. Judge Judy met his eyes. I am not judging you, she said. I am documenting you. The distinction landed hard. She explained that intimidation, verbal aggression, and threats were not isolated behaviors, that they traveled, that they followed people into workplaces, relationships, and courtrooms, and that once they appeared on record, they rarely disappeared. You thought this was entertainment, she said. You thought you were performing. What you did not realize is that every word you spoke was evidence. Travis's breathing grew shallow. So what? You're just going to ruin my life over a comment. Judge Judy shook her head slowly. No, she said. You made a series of choices. I am simply not ignoring them. She closed the folder partway, resting her hand on top of it. From this point forward, she continued, your behavior matters more than your explanations. The room felt smaller now, heavier. The audience leaned in, sensing the shift. Judge Judy looked at Travis one last time before speaking again. We are no longer discussing broken equipment, she said. We are discussing intimidation. She paused, eyes steady. And that, she added, changes everything. The blue folder opened with a soft rustle. No drama, no announcement, just paper meeting air and truth stepping forward. Travis leaned back instinctively, as if distance might protect him. His eyes never left the folder. Judge Judy did not look at him yet. She scanned the first page in silence, her expression unreadable, controlled. The kind of calm that meant something serious had already been confirmed. This is not your first complaint, she said at last. Travis scoffed, too loudly. Here we go. Digging up the past. Judge Judy lifted her gaze. The past is only relevant when it keeps repeating, she said, and yours does. She turned the folder slightly, enough for him to see headings, dates, locations, short summaries written in neutral language that carried no emotion at all, civil disputes, workplace confrontations, property damage claims that never quite reached criminal court, but never quite disappeared either. Travis leaned forward now, agitation breaking through. Those were misunderstandings, he said. People lying, people trying to get money. Judge Judy flipped another page. Different cities, she said. Different people, same behavior. The room felt tighter. Luis watched from his table, eyes moving between the folder and Travis, recognition dawning slowly. This was not an isolated moment. This was a pattern finally being named. Judge Judy read one entry aloud. A former coworker claimed Travis used intimidation during a disagreement, damaging equipment after being confronted. Another described threatening language followed by property loss. No arrests, no convictions, just enough smoke to make fire impossible to ignore. Travis shook his head, voice rising. You cannot hold that against me. None of that went anywhere. Judge Judy nodded once. That is true, she said, and that is precisely why we are here today. She explained that unresolved behavior does not disappear. It accumulates, that when the same conduct appears again and again, the court stops asking if something happened and starts asking why it keeps happening. Luis spoke up quietly. He said Travis tried to contact him after the incident. Said he hinted that coming to court would make things worse. Said the message was vague enough to deny, but clear enough to feel. Judge Judy's pen paused mid-air. Did you send him a message? She asked. Travis hesitated. Just long enough? I told him we should handle it like adults, he said. Luis shook his head. You told me to be careful, he said. You said things have a way of following people. The gallery shifted. That sentence landed hard. Judge Judy made a note, then she turned another page. This one stopped her. She read silently for several seconds, longer than before. When she finally looked up, her eyes locked on Travis with new focus. Not anger, not judgment, recognition. This name, she said, tapping the page lightly. Do you recognize it? Travis's face drained. His mouth opened, then closed. His hands slid flat against the table, palms down, as if grounding himself. I do not know what that is, he said, but the words sounded practiced, not true. Judge Judy closed the folder halfway. You should, she said quietly, because she is here today. The side door creaked open again, and before Travis could turn around, the room already knew The past had finally caught up. The door opened slowly, as if even it understood the weight of the moment. Footsteps followed, steady, unhurried, and something in Travis collapsed before he ever turned around. She did not look angry. That was the most unsettling part. Dana Whitaker stepped into the courtroom with a calm that came from distance, not fear. Time had already done its work on her. Travis's shoulders stiffened the instant he recognized her. His jaw tightened, eyes flicking away like a child caught somewhere he was never supposed to be. Judge Judy watched the reaction carefully. "Ms. Whitaker," she said, "thank you for coming." Dana nodded. She did not look at Travis, not yet. She explained that she and Travis worked together years ago, same company, same floor. At first, he was charming, loud, confident, the kind of person who took up space and seemed proud of it. But when challenged, when corrected or questioned, that confidence twisted into something else. Her voice stayed even as she spoke. She described arguments that escalated fast, equipment damaged during heated moments, conversations that ended with warnings disguised as jokes, nothing overt enough to bring police, just enough to make work unbearable. Travis laughed sharply. "You got me fired," he snapped. Dana finally looked at him. "No," she said. "You got yourself reported." Judge Judy raised a hand, stopping him before he could interrupt again. Donna continued. She said Travis sent messages after the complaint. Not direct threats, just reminders, comments about how people should be careful who they cross, about reputations, about consequences. Judge Judy asked if any of those messages still existed. Dana reached into her bag and handed a printed page to the bailiff. The bailiff passed it forward. Travis stood abruptly. "This is ridiculous." The bailiff stepped closer. Travis sat back down. Judge Judy read the message silently. Then she looked up. "This language," she said, "is very familiar." Dana nodded. "He always said the same thing," she replied. "Different people. Same words." Judge Judy compared the message to the caption from the video. The phrasing lined up like a fingerprint, a pattern no longer deniable. Travis shook his head, voice cracking now. "You are twisting everything. I never hurt anyone." Dana did not raise her voice. "You did not have to," she said. "You just made people afraid." The room absorbed that truth quietly. Judge Judy folded her hands. "Ms. Whitaker," she said, "did Mr. Cole ever take responsibility?" Dana shook her head. "No," she said. "He always said people deserved it." Travis stared straight ahead now, eyes glassy, breathing shallow. The man who walked in laughing was gone. In his place sat someone cornered by his own history. Judge Judy closed the blue folder fully and rested her hand on top of it. "Mr. Cole," she said, "you believe today was about a single incident." She paused, letting the words settle. "It is not," she continued. "It is about a pattern you have carried into every room you enter." Travis swallowed hard. Judge Judy leaned forward slightly. "And there's something else you still do not know about today's hearing." The silence stretched. Whatever confidence Travis had left did not survive it. Judge Judy did not raise her voice. She did not lean forward. She let the silence finish the work Travis had already started. For the first time since the hearing began, Travis did not try to fill the quiet. He sat rigid, hands flat on the table, eyes locked somewhere just below the bench. The confidence that once spilled out of him had turned inward, pressing against his chest like something trying to escape. "You seem confused," Judge Judy said at last, her tone even, almost clinical. "That usually happens when someone realizes the rules were never what they thought they were." Travis scoffed weakly. "This is just a show," he said. "You're making it bigger than it is." Judge Judy tilted her head slightly. "No," she replied. "You did that yourself." She explained calmly that this hearing had crossed a threshold the moment Travis chose intimidation, not just toward the plaintiff, but toward the court itself. That arbitration did not exist in a vacuum. That behavior, observed under oath, did not vanish when the cameras stopped rolling. "Everything you say here becomes part of a record," she said. "Not entertainment, not drama, documentation." Travis laughed again, but it sounded hollow. "So what? You're threatening me now." Judge Judy's eyes sharpened. "I'm informing you," she said. "There is a difference." She outlined it clearly. His statements, his muttered threat, his documented pattern of conduct, all of it flagged, all of it noted. Not punishment, yet. but attention, the kind that follows people into future disputes, workplaces, and courts. Travis shifted in his seat. "You can't ruin my life over words." Judge Judy folded her hands. "Mr. Cole," she said, "no one's life is ruined by words they never said." The room felt still, like it was holding something fragile. She continued, explaining that intimidation is rarely about the target. It is about control, about believing fear will silence consequences, and that the court exists for the exact opposite reason, to make sure silence does not win. Travis's breathing quickened. "I didn't know it worked like this." Judge Judy nodded once. "That," she said, "is the trap." She let the sentence hang, then finished it. "You thought confidence would protect you. You thought volume would overpower truth, and you believed you could walk out the same way you walked in." Travis stared at her now, eyes wide, understanding dawning too late. Judge Judy leaned back slightly. "You were never on trial for being angry," she said. "You were being observed for how you behave when you think no one can stop you." The gallery remained silent. No reactions, no whispers. Everyone understood the shift. She closed the blue folder and slid it aside. "From this point forward," she said, "you are no longer controlling the narrative." Travis swallowed hard. His shoulders slumped, not in defeat but in realization. The trap was never hidden. It was built entirely out of his own words. His shoulders sagged before he realized they were doing it, not in surrender, in exhaustion. Confidence takes energy. Fear takes over when it runs out. Travis tried to speak, then stopped. The rhythm of the courtroom had changed, and he felt it. No one was reacting to him anymore. No gasps, no murmurs, no attention to steal. He cleared his throat and softened his tone, like someone suddenly remembering how consequences worked. "I was having a bad day," he said. "A lot of stress, things piled up." Judge Judy did not interrupt. She waited. Travis leaned into the pause. He talked about pressure, about feeling disrespected, about how people pushed him until he snapped. Each sentence was quieter than the last, less certain. The bravado was gone, replaced by justification, the last refuge of someone losing ground. Judge Judy finally spoke. "Everyone has bad days," she said. "Most of them do not destroy someone else's livelihood." Luis shifted in his seat. When Judge Judy asked if he wished to respond, he nodded slowly. This time his voice did not shake. He spoke about the silence after the incident, about standing in his shop surrounded by broken equipment, about calling suppliers and employees, trying to explain why work had stopped, about fear, not of Travis, but of losing everything he had built. The room leaned toward him. Travis stared at the table. He rubbed his hands together, faster now. "I said I was sorry," he muttered. Judge Judy's gaze sharpened. "No," she said. "You said you were stressed. Those are not the same thing." That distinction landed hard. Travis looked up, eyes wide, searching for something. Sympathy, leniency, distraction. "I didn't mean for it to go this far." Judge Judy nodded once. "That is the problem," she said. "You never do." She asked him a single question, quiet and direct. "Who taught you that fear equals power?" Travis froze. The question did not accuse, it invited, and that made it harder to escape. His mouth opened, closed. He swallowed. For the first time, there was no deflection ready, no joke, no anger to hide behind. His breathing slowed, uneven. The courtroom waited. Travis exhaled, long and shaky. "I don't know," he said finally. "I just learned it." Judge Judy leaned back slightly, studying him, not with contempt, with clarity. "Then you learned the wrong lesson," she said. The silence returned, heavier than before. Travis lowered his eyes again. The man who had walked in confident now sat guarded, uncertain, afraid of his own words. And Judge Judy, calm as ever, was about to show him why fear never works the way people think it does. The question still hung in the air, not loud, not aggressive, unavoidable. Travis stared at the edge of the table, jaw clenched, eyes unfocused. The room waited, but not impatiently. This was no longer about catching him in a lie. This was about whether he could sit with the truth long enough to recognize it. "I wasn't always like this," he said finally. His voice was quieter than anyone expected. Not defensive, just tired. Judge Judy did not respond right away. She gave him space, the kind that makes excuses fall apart. Travis spoke again, halting at first, then steadier. He talked about growing up feeling small, about being ignored, talked over, laughed at, about learning early that volume got attention when respect did not. That intimidation stopped conversations he didn't know how to finish. "I hated feeling weak," he said, "so I made sure no one else could make me feel that way." The admission landed softly, but it landed. Judge Judy listened without interruption. No nodding, no encouragement, just attention. When he finished, she leaned forward slightly, her expression unchanged, but her tone unmistakably precise. "Pain explains behavior," she said. "It does not excuse it." Travis nodded slowly. He did not argue. He could not. The courtroom felt different now, less charged, more exposed. The villain had cracked, revealing something smaller underneath, not sympathy-worthy, just human. Judge Judy continued. "You learned that fear creates silence," she said, "and it does. Temporarily." She paused. "But silence is not respect. It is survival." Luis shifted, absorbing the words. Donna watched without satisfaction. Even the audience stayed still, as if movement might break something fragile. Judge Judy's voice lowered just slightly. "And that is why you choose people you believe cannot fight back," she said. "Employees, service workers, judges you think are distracted. Because you are not seeking power." She held his gaze. "You are seeking relief." The words hit harder than any accusation. Travis's face tightened, eyes glassy now, but he did not look away. "You mistake intimidation for strength," Judge Judy continued. "But strength does not need an audience. It does not need threats, and it certainly does not need to destroy." She sat back, folding her hands. "Every time you frighten someone into silence," she said, "you delay the moment you have to face yourself." Travis's shoulders slumped again, but this time it was not fear driving it. It was recognition. Judge Judy paused, then added quietly, "Today, that delay ends." The courtroom remained silent, not tense, not hostile, honest. And in that honesty, Travis finally understood what his threats had always been hiding. Not power, fear of being powerless. He stopped talking, not because he had nothing left to say, but because he finally understood what every word had already cost him. Judge Judy let the silence settle before speaking again. This was no longer a confrontation. It was an accounting. She outlined the consequences carefully, each one delivered with the same calm precision she had used all morning. "The damage to the equipment," she said, "is not theoretical. It has a dollar value." She reviewed the invoices, the repair estimates, the loss of income. Each figure stacked neatly on the next, turning behavior into math, something that could not be argued with or explained away. Travis nodded faintly. No protest, no commentary. Judge Judy continued. She explained that intimidation carries its own price, that when patterns appear, documented, repeated, ignored, they compound, not always in dramatic ways, often quietly, in denied opportunities, in credibility lost before a word is spoken. "You believe being feared keeps you safe," she said. "It does not. It isolates you." Luis listened, shoulders easing for the first time since he entered the room. The tension that had held him upright all day began to release. He was not smiling. He did not need to. Being heard was enough. Judge Judy looked back to Travis. "You did not just frighten someone," she said. "You disrupted a livelihood. You created uncertainty where none needed to exist." Travis swallowed. His hands rested still now, palms open on the table, a quiet contrast to the restless movements earlier. She explained the court's authority to impose restitution, not as punishment, but as repair, to put the injured party back where they were before intimidation stepped in. "This is the cost of being feared," she said. "It is paid long after the moment passes." Travis nodded again, slower this time. His eyes stayed down, but his posture had changed. There was no tension left to burn through. Judge Judy paused, then added one final piece. "And understand this," she said. "Today's record does not disappear. It follows behavior the same way behavior follows choice. The words landed softly, but they stayed. She gathered the papers in front of her, aligning them with care. The audience remained silent, sensing the weight of what was coming next. Judge Judy looked up once more. "I am ready to rule," she said. The gavel lifted, and for the first time all day, Travis did not brace himself. He simply waited. The gavel hovered for a moment longer than necessary. Not for suspense, for precision. When it finally came down, the sound was firm but measured. Judge Judy did not look at Travis right away. She read from the papers in front of her, ensuring every word was exact before it left her mouth. "Mr. Cole," she said, "you are responsible for the full cost of the damaged equipment." She listed the figures calmly. Repairs, replacement, lost income directly tied to the closure. Each number carried weight, but none were delivered with satisfaction. Travis nodded. Once, he did not argue, he did not sigh. The fight had left him. Judge Judy continued, "You will also cover court costs." A pause. "And you will have no further contact with the plaintiff outside of what is required to fulfill this judgment." Luis closed his eyes briefly, exhaling through his nose. Not relief, release. Judge Judy looked up now, meeting Travis's eyes. "This ruling is not meant to humiliate you," she said. "It is meant to correct behavior." She explained that accountability was not about spectacle. It was about balance, about restoring what was taken and drawing a clear line that could not be crossed again without consequence. "You came in here believing strength meant dominance," she said. "You are leaving knowing strength means restraint." Travis's throat tightened. He swallowed hard, but he did not look away. Judge Judy added one final condition. "This case will reflect your conduct today, not just the damage, not just the caption, but the intimidation." She let that settle. "There are no additional penalties because this court does not deal in cruelty," she said. "But understand this, restraint is not leniency. It is expectation." Travis nodded again, slower this time. "I understand," he said quietly. Judge Judy inclined her head slightly. Not approval, acknowledgement. She turned to Luis. "You are entitled to be made whole," she said. "Nothing more, nothing less." Luis thanked her softly, voice steady now. The gavel came down once more, final this time. The judgment was complete, not loud, not dramatic. Just unavoidable. And as the courtroom absorbed the decision, it was clear. Justice had not crushed anyone. It had simply removed the illusion that power ever belonged to fear. He looked up slowly, like someone expecting another blow, and realizing it would land differently. Judge Judy did not speak right away. The ruling had already been delivered. This was not part of the judgment. This was something else. A moment she reserved for people who needed to hear a truth that paperwork could not enforce. "Mr. Cole," she said, her tone calm but unwavering, "cases end. Records don't." Travis held her gaze now. There was no defiance left in him, only attention. "You believe this ends when you walk out of here," she continued. "It doesn't. What you say, how you behave, that follows you, into jobs, into disputes, into rooms where people decide whether to trust you before you ever speak." She let the words sit. "You were very concerned with being respected," she added. "But respect does not come from fear. Fear creates distance, and distance creates reputation." Travis nodded faintly. His mouth opened, then closed again. For once, he did not try to respond. Judge Judy glanced briefly at Luis, then back at Travis. "You frightened someone who did not deserve it," she said, and today the court corrected that imbalance. Her voice softened just enough to matter. "What happens next is up to you." The gallery remained silent, aware this was not spectacle. It was instruction. Judge Judy finished with one final line, delivered without heat, without judgment. "Your words have already gone, places you cannot reach. Make sure the next ones are worth following." Travis lowered his eyes, not in shame, in thought. The bailiff stepped forward, signaling the close of the matter. Papers were gathered, chairs shifted. The courtroom exhaled as a whole. Pause and think. Do moments like this actually change people, or just teach them how quietly their actions echo? Judge Judy reached for the gavel one last time, and the room listened. The gavel fell with finality, but the sound wasn't what lingered. For a moment, everything seemed to freeze. The camera lights dimmed, the hum of the air conditioning slowed, and the weight of the judgment settled around them all. The audience, the court, and most of all, Travis. The man who had entered so sure of himself now sat motionless, his face pale, his hands still. Silence had filled the space where arrogance once roamed freely. Not the uncomfortable silence of tension or fear, but the kind that happens when noise can no longer disguise the truth. Travis stood slowly, his movements slower than they had been all day. The arrogance that had made him feel like a player in a game had evaporated, leaving only the quiet reality of what he had done and what he was now facing. The pride he carried in the beginning had turned to something else entirely. Not regret exactly, but recognition. Luis stood as well, his posture no longer tight with anxiety. He didn't smile. He didn't need to. His dignity had been restored in a way that needed no celebration. Judge Judy watched them both without speaking. She didn't need to. This was the moment of truth, when everything that had been said, every action taken, had been distilled into something more profound than punishment or victory. As Travis turned to leave, his eyes briefly met Luis's. There was no animosity in the look, no gloating from Luis, no pride in the moment, just a quiet understanding. And for the first time, Travis saw the power of that silence, the kind that doesn't yell or threaten, but stands firm and unshaken, knowing its own worth. The room seemed to exhale with them, as if a collective breath had been held for too long. When the courtroom doors closed behind him, there was no fanfare, no dramatic exit. Just a man, leaving the room changed by something he never expected, the weight of his own actions, unmasked and no longer deflected by words. And Judge Judy? She remained seated, looking at the space he had left behind, not with triumph, but with quiet resolution. Arrogance had met its match in silence, and in the end, silence had been the loudest voice in the room. What is the true cost of silence? Does it always speak louder than words, or does it simply reveal what was always there?